I was a Haitian voodoo doctor on CSI New York for 4 episodes, but I think only one has ever really gotten traction because I remember the Screen Actors Guild pulled some of the episodes that were too deep and dark and very disturbing because my character always had 666 tattooed on her eyelids, and some of the Christian groups went up in arms and all that stuff. So they pulled about 3 of them.
Okay.
But I started with that, then I went on to do The Life, which was NBC, on NBC with Damien Hirst. Is that red-haired British actor?
Yes.
And then I went on to have my own web series called Runway Stars, and then I hosted for BET for a while, and then
that.
I got handpicked to do Star Trek.
Yes.
Star Trek, I was supposed
So
to
for
do.
many people, I mean, just listening to this, they're thinking, well, you're going from this to this to this to this to this. I mean, what changed?
My daughter.
Okay.
My daughter. Hollywood is a very, very, very strange place. Nothing is ever real. Everyone has an agenda. Everyone, people do a lot to get where they are. And even to stay where you are, you have to be a certain type of personality. You have to be able to sell yourself short of everything that is morally right, I think. And some people can just say, I'm an actor and nothing else. I got to a point where Hollywood wasn't me anymore. I had done the work. I had struggled, I'd gotten where I'd gotten, but all of a sudden, I found out I was pregnant on Star Trek.
Okay.
And then I realized, I couldn't do that anymore.
you
I was
still
sitting
with
in my
Chad
trailer.
at that time?
No, we had sort of taken a break. And then I was told that he had cancer. And Chad saw Nava for maybe 3 hours. And I was left with a baby. Yeah. So I came home. I came home with my little girl, and I slept a lot and had to reinvent myself. And then I picked myself up, as one does. And I lost my best friend, and I never got a chance to tell him I was sorry for not loving him enough, for not being there. And
Okay. We'll just take a
I
moment.
actually have a hanky. Strangely enough, I never have one.
Tissues.
But yeah, so Chad passed, and
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I
Had your baby girl.
yeah, Napa's she's a beautiful soul. She looks a lot like me, but I had to go back and get Chad's ashes because he wanted to be scattered on Lake Victoria. And so
So you went back and got his ashes.
I did, yeah,
Oh.
and brought him home because he loved Uganda so much. And the one thing he really, I don't say, he loved the butts on women here. He used to, we would be driving from Entebbe, and he would be like, babe, Nana, don't get it twisted. I love you. You're like awesome, but I'm just going to get some optical nutrition right now. And then he would always stop for a cold now special. And as we were coming in, he'll be like, damn, that's an onion booty. That's a pear-shaped booty. Oh, girl, is that even real? Like, he'll be talking to himself. And there was a bar down there, it's called the Big Booty Bar. He'll just go and look at the waitress. He'll be like, girl, don't be mad at me, but right about now, we're on holiday. I will be home when I'm ready.
What
yeah.
a gift.
He was an amazing person. So I came home and I realized I couldn't live in the US anymore. I didn't. The day I came home with Nava, I had been so stressed. I picked up her diaper bag. I remember I was wearing these brown sweats My boobs were leaking. I drove straight to LAX. I booked a ticket. I called my mom. I said, I have to come home. I'm losing it. I hadn't slept in like 4 days. Nava was crying. But the irony of it is we got to LAX. She stopped crying completely. I couldn't get a direct flight, so I had to go to Boston, spend the night at my friend's place. And then my cousin, we missed the flight out of Boston, but I could get a connection from New York. That's how determined I was to come home. My cousin Joseph, he's actually in Uganda right now, came and drove me to New York. Like, he was like, okay, you want to go home? So he drove me and this screaming baby again. We get to JFK. And again, she goes quiet. She was like 6 weeks.
Whoa.
And on the flight over, she refused me to put her down, not even in the bassinet. We landed in Entebbe. She's screaming. Immigration is like, do you have anyone you can give this baby to? The irony of it has scared my mom so much. She called my dad. Both of them were at the airport. I think they thought I'd lost like the plot. I remember giving Nava to my mom, and Nava went silent completely. It like she had come home. She stopped screaming. She stopped squirming. She was just like this beautiful baby. Everyone was oohing and ahhing. My mom got me a nanny, and I slept for a week straight, where they would just wake me up to breastfeed. And after that, I was like, I can't go back. I really can't. I can't live there. It's not possible. I needed to come home, give Nava a sense of identity, because my family rallied around me. For the first time in my life, I just didn't feel alone. I didn't feel like I had to do it all by myself. Nava was everyone's baby. My brother was buying diapers. Thank you, Kato. It was crazy. I was like, wow, this is great. And then I came home with not much, because the house we had been, US mortgage, blah, blah, blah. And after I finished paying off some of Chad's funeral stuff and credit cards, I had peanuts. And most people believe when you're coming out of Hollywood, because in Hollywood I made money, but I was young and I was living the life between Belize, Vegas, Monaco. I was living the life. So I didn't think about saving. And then I came back and I had zero.
And a baby.
I was living at home.
But you had family.
I did, and family said, oh no. So my dad gave me a car, and then I was living with mommy. And that is the start of Nana in Uganda. I decided to come home, got a job with Talo, which was really weird because the guy was interviewing me, kept staring at me. Then he's like, but I just flew in, and on British Airways, I was watching this movie called He's Just Not That Into It. It was with Ben Affleck and Jennifer.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could swear you were that black girl that was in it. And I was like, I'm a chemical engineer. He's like, so he pulled it up on YouTube. He's like, I said, okay, I act as well, but crap, I'm here for work. So Talo gave me a job, and I started my life back here. And the irony of it is, I took Talo's job to stop traveling.
Yes.
3 weeks in, they sent me to South Africa.
Okay.
I swear. And I was like, you're joking, right? So I went off, left my baby with my mom and my brothers, because my mother is like awesome. And then I was commuting between South Africa and Bugungu almost every week. I'd drop into Entebbe, go to Kajansi, get on a flight to oil wells, stay on site sometimes a month, just go and see my baby for a day, fly back to South Africa. And I was like, this is not right. So I petitioned my company. They're like, no problem. They flew Nava down with her nanny, and I asked my mom to come along and take a break. She was like, cool. We lived in Cape Town for about 6 months, which was great because then I could really travel. So I came back here, 2 weeks. They were like, oh yeah, you'll be placed in London.
Okay.
I was like, but I fled London. Didn't anyone get the memo?
You're sending me back?
So I like literally went back, and then I took my daughter with me and her nanny. And my daughter at the time, she was about 2. You know what she told me? Take me back to my grandmother's. She was used to her family here, where grandma, auntie, Uncle Tutu's picking up, Uncle Suna's taking her for ice cream. Then all she
And
has
space.
is, and all she has is mummy. We lived in Chiswick, one of the most expensive areas in London. You could pinpoint we're the only black family. And then they'd put us in this very posh flat. It was like, crap, this is not right. Nava decided, even my nanny, and Dajire said, Mama Nava, Uganda. So off they came back, and I was stuck out there. Then I suffered like quite a bit of loss of people close to me. My mentor in Talo, Anthony, God rest his soul, he took me under his wing, and one day he just didn't wake up. And that was so traumatic for me, because the next day I had to go back to work, and I looked at his desk, his laptop. We were the only production engineers from Uganda, and suddenly I'd been left alone, and all this work we had done, and he just was never coming back. And he was my only real friend in London. So I asked them to bring me home. And I came back here, and things were a bit winding down. Oh man, it took me a while to get over him as well. But at least it was a different environment. Same company, different environment. And then I worked here for a while, and the oil story of Uganda, things weren't moving the same way. I just had the other 2 babies. And then I realized I had done a lot in my life. And I had never taken time to stop and do nothing.
For a while. Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
And
when you work nonstop,
yes,
that is your life.
Yeah, so I decided, I made a decision. I requested for voluntary terminus from Talo. They gave it to me. Lovely chaps they are, Talo. And I was also going through a separation from my second husband, the father of my kids. It was hard, but I needed to give my kids a home. That was also a priority. So I took my money that they had given us, and I built them a house. I bought land and I built them a home, so they would never have to worry about if they had a real physical address. Because after we separated, I kind of went back home, then I rented, and I realized it was no environment for my kids. So I did that. I bought a plot in Nachinyugus. Do you even know where Nachinyugus is?
Nope.
I figured you wouldn't. Nachinyugus is in Luwafu. So I live in Nachinyugus, eh? My 3 kids, 5 dogs.
One of her dogs was crazy,
Oh yeah,
apparently.
Boo Boo. We're saving up money for therapy with Boo Boo. Brutus Maximus has issues, and I think he thinks he's white because he's Maltese, so he feels like maybe he's being raised by an adopted black family.
Oh man.
And that, anyway, so that's my story. But I also decided to go back to media and
start doing your productions and stuff.
Yeah, I figured Uganda's at an interesting stage in history, and there's so much happening that one must document these things. There's so many tragedies that go on, and newspapers will print them, but nobody will ever tell the story, put it on paper so that those victims could have immortality. For me, case in point, the Bududa landslides, those would have been a gorgeous movie to tell from a fictional and factual place. The Renzuru killings, the boat ride things. Unfortunately, in Uganda, it takes money to do these stories, and sometimes it's a struggle. But I'm hoping to dedicate myself to giving a voice to the voiceless, and also document people's struggles and triumphs. It's important that we celebrate Ugandans that have gone outside the box, because we're so notorious for tearing each other down. Do you know that? As a nation, we thrive on people losing things. We thrive on people failing. We don't celebrate our diverse overachievers. We don't. The unsung heroes that nobody knows about, that will only appear on Gatari Kofu.
And we move on so quickly
from
one thing to another,
and then we don't even want the truth. We want entertainment. So as a filmmaker, I reckon it's time to start doing what must be done. And also, if Genevieve Naji can sell a film for $3.8 million to a American distribution, Netflix, I think we have a window.
We can do that.
I think we can.
Nice.
I reckon, I think we're coming for them. They just won't see us coming. I love that. It's like a coup. You just take over. But so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing media. I'm being a mother. I own a vintage and resale store.
And apparently you had one back in the US when you were there as
Yes. You see,
well. Is that how you started?
Yes. I'm stuck in the 70s. This is also Listen, I never even lived them. I was born at the end, but somehow that era speaks to me, you know. And I believe in resale. I believe in recycling. I believe that as human beings, we are materialistic and we buy stuff then throw it away like it has no use, especially clothing. And quality clothing for me is a passion. Some of these clothes are made in China today. You wash it, it falls apart. And
it tears,
exactly. And then you
sit down and
you see something like this from the 70s and it's still functional. And I am like, wow, as we need to change our culture of overconsumption. And also I love a good bargain. So I like to go places and collect things that maybe have a story or just have really great quality. And then also realize that nobody else has it. You know that feeling of like, I will turn up in a dress, I'll be the only person, and I will not be wondering, oh my God, did she get hers on Kampala Road, Loom Street? I think there's this new culture in Uganda of overpricing cheap stuff from China. And someone will tell you, but that's
People
Louis
trying to turn
Vuitton.
as much of a profit.
Louis Vuitton, 4 million Uganda shillings. I could mention some shops where I'm like, girl.
And some of them are Louis Vuitton from...
You know, when you tell them, Gundi, do you go to church on Sunday? How do you live with yourself?
No, it happens. It happens.
But anyway, so I do that as well. So I'm quite, and then I'm a motivational speaker, of course.
As well. And you're doing some charity work.
I am doing some charity work. It's a foundation.
That is also another...
it's a whole different story. We're trying to take care of orphan children, underprivileged children, disadvantaged men and women in some of the poorest districts in Uganda, and create a sustainable model for a vocational training center. What it is, I've discovered that it's not that people need to be given free things, it's changing the mindset of the ordinary human being. And I feel like that can be done through the arts. You cannot go and educate a 40-year-old man, but if you put up educational material in terms of visual media and plays and the arts and allow them to paint and help them realize that poverty is mainly a state of mind. You're crippled by what you allow yourself to believe. Recently, I came under fire for the Miss Uganda issue where a girl came in. She was from Central Region, not something. And she said, my name is something, I'm offering journalism and whatever. And I go to Makerele. I can understand a slip of the tongue. I can understand how your mother tongue can influence how you say things. But if you're in a world competition, you want to be Miss Uganda, you teach yourself to overcome your weaknesses. Don't waste your time waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning to come and expose yourself that way to someone who can tear you to bits. To me, I had seen over 60 contestants by the time she came. I was looking for superiority, both in beauty and brains and the ability to adapt. For you to expose yourself that way, and then social media went crazy talking about bullying.
You're bullying,
that is
so
not
mean,
bullying. I was bullying, I was mean, I was an old hag. Okay, I'll accept that old hag, because we all know, we all know how old I am. But to champion someone's, I wouldn't call it mistakes, shortcomings, and say we should be gentle with them, that's bullying the girl child. Guess what? The world does not have
but
time.
you're grooming her for a competition where these girls are fierce.
They are fierce. You saw the Miss World where Binacho kept coming under fire. The reason she took the crown was because that girl would stand straight and look at you and say, what do you want me to change? Now that's the ability.
So she was willing to better herself.
Not even
constantly.
willing. She was willing to put herself in the line of fire. Don't go into things and expect that the little you do will be rewarded ridiculously. That is the society we live in, where people are now entitled. They
do the bare minimum and they think you should be grateful.
Exactly. When there's a whole world out there where people are achieving ridiculous things, and I find it frustrating when we can elevate certain individuals in society and call them role models, and they've done nothing but expose themselves physically. And then we take the ones we should use as role models and dismiss them. So anyways, that's a pet peeve of mine, because I want my daughter, I keep telling her, if I've raised you in a Rolls Royce, I expect you to bring home a private jet. No excuses, because if I'm sacrificing to make you the best product you can become, forgive me for my over eager expectations, but let me dream that you will change the world, that you won't be like me, that when I'm remembered, they will say your mother was, but you are more. So it's just that. So I also, I have a reputation.
There's nothing wrong with having expectations. I don't
But
know when it became a crime.
Why don't we raise our children that way? We raise them to question the world. We need to raise them to ask questions. It's very irritating, I know, because of the way our education system's set up and the way we were raised as kids. But we must encourage our children. If they're watching the Discovery Channel, make sure that they understand how it is made. That's one of my kids' favorite programs, dams, waterfalls, all this stuff. Encourage them to question, encourage them to challenge the status quo. And let's raise some leaders who have so much going that they don't have time to break down the structures that have run the countries for a long time. That they don't have time to take from the ordinary person, that they don't have time for a sense of entitlement, that they understand what a public servant is. It's one to serve the nation, not one to take from them. I think that it is our duty now to do that as citizens. We shouldn't ask the government to do it. It is citizens. The structures are breaking down because even us who exist,
We're not doing enough.
no, we're
We're
not. So
doing-
I shan't go off on that rant anymore. Talk to me. Let's go back.
Well, we're out of time.
Oh, yay! Do I get to go? And we haven't even started talking about the other stuff we were talking about.
So much
But
stuff
that
to
is
talk
PG.
about.
Is it PG? No, that's R18.
She's talking about
You need-
contraptions and things.
I know. You need to open a show that airs at midnight.
You can share all the
You
other
know,
stuff.
like a singer style one where you and I can have a chat and people can tell us. But the cameraman there is a man. Maybe he can be like the. No. We shan't experiment on him. What? Who? You need me where? Okay, I'm coming.
Oh, Nana. Nana. Thank you, my darling. Thank you so much
You are welcome.
for sharing.
I'm
And we can feel your light and your courage, and it's inspirational.
Thank
So
you.
keep doing you.